Chinese are evicting people from their houses. They're treating Africans and blaming them for a disease that happened in China. It's why Trump called it a Chinese disease. If you don't believe me, look at this.
Because it comes from China.
Racist.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate. Yeah, please.
Now it's somehow coming to Africans. Surprisingly, this is something that we always want people not to fall into. Like, African leaders are busy receiving grants from China, and China is feeling like there is superpower. Of course, they are a superpower, but we're giving them opportunity to do the things that the West have been doing because they've been giving us charity. So let us not be dependent on other countries. Let us invest in our own economies. Let us invest in agriculture, for instance. Let us empower ourselves. People won't be leaving Africa to other countries if Africa has everything that we need. People leave because we don't have it. This is very, very embarrassing. Look at what happened to some of the Nigerian people in China. Look at what happened. This is so disheartening. Hey!
Look at everybody outside. Everybody is outside. Look at the Chinese police. They won't allow us to rest. They chased us away from our house. We don't have anywhere to live. They are pursuing us. Why?
They collected all our passports. Look at them. They collected all our passports.
We don't know where they are taking us to. We have been in quarantine for 14 days now. We don't know where they are taking us to.
They cannot give us house. They cannot give us hotel. They cannot provide a place we can stay.
And to the surprise, no African leader has come out to condemn this publicly. And you know why? This is because they receive handouts. Almost every road that has been built is because of a handout that has come from China, which is giving us debt. Countries should be treated as industries. They should be treated as industries that generate a certain source of income. By empowering your agriculture sector, by empowering your people, by creating industries, you're adding value to your own people. So let us do things that are going to bring value addition to our people. Yeah? This way, we're going to have some dignity. Now, everyone feels like they have the right to do what? To disrespect an African man because of our tendencies. You know, we're just like that person who is visiting someone's house, okay? And every morning, that person comes to have breakfast. Or maybe comes to beg for some food. That's how they're treating us. We are beggars. And that's why they won't even disrespect. But now, coming to the Chinese, China, this is your disease. This is a disease that started from China. This is not something that you should discriminate Africans about. We treated your people in a very, very amicable way. When you guys come and hand out your money, we invite your people. We treat them like our own people. Even better, they come to our countries and you treat our own people, which is something that shouldn't even be happening. And yet, in a time like this, where something that originated from you guys, something that was supposed to be discriminating the Chinese people is happening, you are now choosing to discriminate Africans in that period of time. This is so bad, and this is denting a bad picture on the Chinese people. And you know, there's life after COVID-19, and this is a big wake-up call to African leaders. Don't relate yourselves to the Chinese government. They only hand out so that they can get more from you guys, as usual. And this is why the former AU ambassador to the US, Dr. Chihombori Arikana, I hope I said her name correctly, mentioned in this video that I'm going to show you, she strongly came against that. And really, I expected African president from the people who were abused, like Nigeria, like Kenya, to really come strong against this. But apparently, it's even people who are not in government at the moment who are coming out. So watch at this video, and I really want to give her the accolades because she's very bold. She was bold when she talked about the colonial tax that is going on by France, which is still going on up to this moment. She was really bold, and she's really bold also about this. Let us give this woman the accolades she deserves. She is a strong woman and a good representation of the African woman. Please look at this video and share this video. Please share it.
Fellow African diaspora, a very good day to all of you. My name is Ambassador Arikana Chihombori Arikana. Over the past couple of days, I've received many messages, emails, phone calls, and video clippings of the abuse that is being meted to our fellow African diaspora living in China. I've watched in horror Africans roaming the streets of China with their possessions after being evicted out of their homes simply because they are Africans. I've watched in horror Africans roaming the streets with their suitcases and at times with nothing at all, roaming the streets after being thrown out of their hotel rooms simply because they are Africans. I have watched in horror women carrying babies roaming the streets of China with nowhere to go after being thrown out of their homes simply because they are Africans. I've heard many stories of Africans who are married to Chinese being separated from their husbands or wives simply because they were Africans. I've heard stories about Africans being forced to take COVID-19 tests simply because they're Africans. In many cases, these individuals did not meet criteria for testing, or they had been quarantined for the specified time period as mandated by the anti-pandemic laws of China. Not once have I heard any complaints of any African disobeying the anti-pandemic laws of China. Why is it then that Africans are being singled out and mistreated? This situation is not acceptable. It is wrong, and it will not be tolerated. To President Xi, I say, while you have enjoyed good relationships with all the African leaders, it is precisely because of that you should do the right thing. You are sitting in the big boy's chair, and we are asking you to make the big boy decisions. We're counting on you to make sure that the Africans that are roaming the streets and have been evicted from their homes be allowed to go back home. We're also asking you to make sure the Africans who are roaming the streets because they have been thrown out of their hotel rooms be allowed to go back to their hotel rooms. As we speak, President Xi, may I remind you that we have over 10 million Chinese residing in Africa, where we have welcomed them with open arms. We have allowed the Chinese to establish themselves to marry Africans and live happily ever after in our Africa. Why can't Africans be awarded the same welcome that we have given to millions of your citizens? What is being done to Africans in China is deplorable, and the world cannot stand by and allow it to continue. While we understand that the majority of the Chinese are good people, they're good citizens in China as well as in Africa. However, sadly, among them, there are a few bad apples. A few bad apples that have chosen to give China a bad name. A few bad apples that are making China look bad in the eyes of the Africans. This is a situation that cannot be allowed to continue. President Xi, you are a good man. And we would like the relationship between China and the African governments to continue unabated. But the behavior that's coming from a few of your citizens will not be tolerated, and we're counting on you to do what is right, to do what is just, and to do what is fair. The Africans are no longer going to tolerate this abuse, from the Chinese or anybody else for that matter. The African youth are enraged. We're asking, when is enough going to be enough? President Xi, the power is in your hands. We value, as Africans, our relationship with China. Please do not allow a few bad apples within your citizens to ruin what is otherwise a wonderful relationship between China and the African countries. As a united citizens, as a united African citizens in the diaspora, we are asking you, President Xi, to do what is right, to do what is just, and to do what is fair. The children of Africa are saying, enough is enough. The abuse of Africans at home and abroad, be it in China or on the continent, has got to stop. You may not be aware of some of these abuses, but as a united African citizenry in the diaspora, we hope you will receive our message in the spirit with which it is being delivered to you. You are a good man, President Xi. We trust you will do the right thing. I thank you.
Things that we do that are so bad to ourselves. If we get an example of a Chinese doing the same business and with a fellow African man, like this, let's say they're neighbors, we would rather go and buy from the Chinese man. In our own land, in our own countries, we should have that as a natural instinct to support our own people. If they're selling as neighbors, 1 month later, the African man will close down because we'll all be supporting them. Let us learn a very big lesson. We only have ourselves to fall back on. We only have ourselves to fall back on. Let us support ourselves. Let us invest in each other.